Now we're going to go over the concept of grouping. There's a feature underneath the Selection tab called Group By. Out of all of the features inside the reporting mechanism, this is the most important one to master and understand. Grouping allows us to design virtually any report we need, and you have to understand when to use it and how to use it. In the earlier tutorial, we were building conicals as a selection set, and we were getting some quantity from that conical report. But the sum quantity was adding up to quantities of identical items. Whenever we've got items that are truly identical, and a truly identical item means all of the parameters match, and we're going to go over exactly what that means. We can use the Use One Record for Identical Items feature. However, if we're trying to report items and group them by one parameter, but the other parameters happen to be different, we cannot use this feature. For example, we're basically going to exit out and we're going to look at our drawing. What we've put on the drawing are 9 pieces of spiral pipe. You can see here that we've got 3 pieces of 12-inch spiral pipe with different lengths. We're going to right click and go to the property box, and we're going to focus on the property length. Notice that it says varies. When PractiCAD goes to define whether items are identical, it searches through all of the properties in the AutoCAD property box. And if any of these properties has the word varies, these items are not identical. The only exception to that rule would be history and elevation parameters. The elevations can be different and things can be created or stripped off at different times. So you're going to see the word varies. However, if an identification, technology, geometry, tap parameter, or any other kind, you see the word varies, they are not identical. So what we have here is we want to design a spiral length report. We're going to combine it with the conical report. And that spiral length report should group all the spiral on the drawing by the parameter or property diameter, and then add up all the lengths of those spiral pipes. So here you can see we have a 30-inch piece, a 70-inch piece, and a 140-inch piece. If we add that up, it should be 240 inches or 20 foot. So the way we'd like to see this report is we'd like to see 12-inch diameter, some length, 20 foot. 16-inch diameter, some length, 20 foot. And 20-inch diameter, some length, 20 foot. To do this, we must use the grouping feature. So we're going to go back into the library icon. And here we're going to maximize our space, close our browser, and we're going to go over how to utilize the Group By feature. The first thing we're going to do is create a second selection set. We're going to go up to the selection set, we're going to click on the Add button, and then we're going to type in the Spiral Selection Set. We're going to name it Spiral. Once we do that, notice that in the sketch, PractiCAD is going to add, if we just click once, it's going to add the header and footer for the Spiral Selection Set. All we need to do is simply click on the drawing once and PractiCAD will open it and add it. Now what we're going to do is going to go back to selection. For the spiral selection set, we'd like to choose fitting. And we're going to choose the type fitting. And then we're going to say that the only fitting we'd like to report in this particular selection set will be the spiral pipe. For this part of the tutorial, we're not going to choose a condition. We're just going to say report all spiral pipe. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the sketch. And we're going to set up the header of spiral similar to what we did with conicals. I'm actually going to close the conical footer. If we don't need it, we can always close it to save space and also make things less confusing. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up the spiral header like we did with conicals to 2 rows. We're going to take the first row, open it up, double click, and we're going to name it Spiral. And all we're going to do once again is put borders and alignment. Then we're going to go to this field here. We're going to give it the header diameter. We're going to enter that into the field. We're going to border it, center it. And last, we're going to do sum length. And that's going to be what we use here. Instead of sum quantity, we're going to do sum length. And we're just going to center and border. So now we have all of our headers correct. Now before we go any further, and this is the reason why it's so important to lay out your entire report first, we have to decide if the detail field is the right place to put our properties. What we're going to do here is we would like to report the sum length of all spiral pipes on the drawing that have the same diameter in property, or that are grouped by the same diameter in. What that means is if I got 30 pieces of spiral in a drawing that are all 8 inches in diameter, but all of the other properties are different, from length to liner, everything else, we still want to get a sum length of every piece of spiral that has the property diameter in equaling one another. So if one spiral equals 8 inch, the other one's 8 inch, regardless of the length or any other property, we want to get the sum length of those pieces together. So what we need to do is we need to go into the selection tab and we need to group by the property we'd like to use. So we're going to go over here and we're going to hit create a new parameter. And when we do that, we're going to get the drop down menu of all the properties that the spiral duct has. And we're going to hit D to go to the D properties. And we're going to find a property diameter in. Once again, whenever you're choosing properties, make sure to choose the proper one. Many properties look alike. So we're going to say diameter in, group by diameter in. Now we're going to be asked whether we want to sort. This is a sorting feature, up or down. If we say sort down, the report's going to say 14 inch, 12 inch, 10 inch, 8 inch. It's going to sort the report by diameter in, down. If we say sort up, it's going to say 8 inch, 10 inch, 12 inch, 14 inch. It's going to sort the report up. So we can also use this feature not only to group, but also to sort. Once we've added a section for grouping, and keep in mind, you can create multiple groups. You could say group first by diameter, and then second by piece number. And therefore, you can continue to order your report. You don't need to use just one group. But here we're using one just to start. Once you add a group, when you go back into your sketch, you're going to notice that PractiCAD, if you click on the drawing again, has added a group header for diameter in, based on property, and a group footer. Now what we're about to show right here is the most important thing to understand. So I recommend watching the video more than once. If in fact you want to get a sum of any property in the software, and you want to add the sum together for properties that are similar based on the field or property you grouped by, in this particular case, the property diameter in, you do not put the parameter data in the detail field. You put it in the field that you wanted to group everything by. So what we're going to do here is we are not going to use the detail field. We're actually going to put the diameter properties here in this field. And we're going to do the sum length properties in this field. Very important. The difference between putting it here or in the detail field, one report's going to be completely wrong. The other one will be exactly the way they want. So what we're going to do real quick here, just to save some time as a quick tip, we're just going to double click on this field with diameter out. And I'm going to use the copy button. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this field right here. And then we're going to come over and we're going to hit paste. Now I understand that we really want to use the property diameter in, but I think it's quicker to simply modify it using copy paste than to go back into the character map again and find the symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete one section of this expression, and I'm going to find the property for diameter in, and we're going to place it there, and we're going to keep the rest. So diameter in, and we're going to place it there. Now we just need to border and align. And we're going to choose the format decimal and the precision 0. Now this field's ready to go, and it's in the proper place. We're going to go over here to sum length, and we're going to say we don't want the sum of the property quantity. What we want is the sum, and we're going to click on function, sum. We hit the ampersand to put it in here, and now we're going to find a property length. And what it's going to do, because of the grouping feature, is it's going to group and add all the lengths together of any spiral pipe that has matching diameters. And that is the purpose of the grouping feature. So what we're going to do here is we're going to center and we're going to border. And we're going to say format will be architectural, and we'll do precision 1/2 inch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save this report, and we're going to exit out and run it. Here we have our spiral pipe on the drawing. We're going to highlight just spiral pipe. We also have the conicals from the earlier tutorial here, but we're not going to highlight them at this moment. What we're going to do is we're just going to run that report, and we're going to place it on the drawing. And you can see that first, everything is correct, exactly as we wanted. PractiCAD has grouped all the spiral by diameter, and then it's added the sum lengths up for like diameters. So that's the first thing to take notice. This report was designed correctly. The second thing to take notice is that there are no headers for the conicals. What happens is, if in fact you fill a selection set header with data, but you highlight the drawing and there are no entities that meet that selection set, PractiCAD doesn't put that on the report. So that's another thing to take note of. So just to demonstrate what would have happened had we built this report incorrectly, we're going to take a snapshot of a report that has, instead of the diameter in parameters filled in, the detail parameters filled in. Here you can see the exact same report, but we removed all the data from the group by field, the diameter in, into the detail field. And if we were to save this report and run it currently, this is what the report would look like. You can see here that we have a new line item for each size or each different item because they're not grouped by diameter. So it is grouping in terms of the sort, but it's not combining the sum length of all the like diameter types. So it's very important to make sure that you put the proper parameters in the proper fields. This concept is the most important in reporting, so please make sure to watch this video again if it was hard to understand the first time.